Hello, family. Welcome to On Power and Purpose. It's your girl, Rina Malay. And of course, I have with me Amin Mayeko.
Yes, ma'am. How are you doing?
I'm good. That was great, actually.
I know it's impossible for people like you and I not to be great.
You know?
Always great.
I'm good, man. So I had a chat with you, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally just spoke about your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why are we not?
By the way, today my name is my mom, son,
Oh, yeah.
mama's boy.
Mama's boy.
Yeah.
All right. So we had a conversation about you growing up, and I'm like, I found it so interesting. I'm like, dude, why don't you share this? You know?
Okay.
And you're like, no, I'm ready. So are you ready?
Ready when you are.
So you were raised by your stepmother
Yes, ma'am.
from the age of 2.
Mm-hmm.
Take us through it.
What did you go for 2? What did you say from 10?
No, you're the one who told me to.
No, I think I'm the only human being who was born by 2 parents.
Mm-hmm.
When I say 2, I mean a pair. 2 dads, 2 moms.
Mm-hmm.
How you like that? So I'm half man, half amazing.
Oh, wow, that's great. What home?
So basically what happened is my biological parents separated when I was a little kid. I don't know how old I was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was dead 2-3 years maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I couldn't really remember what really happened. But yeah, I was of that age. Now my mom stepped in. Well, my stepmom stepped in. No, she stepped in as a stepmom. So she's the one who raised me. Whatever that you see right now, I dispense her energy and her love and her everything.
Wow.
So I'm the definitive
Right.
outcome of my stepmom.
Well, people never had that. Well, most of the time when people were to tell the stories of their step parents, it's one of the things that really scares single parents, that will I ever find a partner that is going to love me and my child?
Yeah,
Will they ever
that's true.
protect me? And you to having to say that you were raised by your stepmother and she made you, she grew you to be the person that you are today.
Yeah.
You know, how was that like in did you know that she was your stepmother? That's not there.
Okay. You know, information really never, it always lingers. Whether you know or you don't know, at some point you will know. But I knew for a fact because I had a memory. Because one thing I know about myself is that I've got memory. I remember little things. You know, if they were to give me 5 or 10 minutes and say, remember your grade 12 classmates, I'll remember all of them. Yeah, that's how far I can remember. So now, I remember very well how she looked like and everything. And then, you know, there's also outside factors, your uncles from your dad's side, your uncles from your mom's side. So they'll also step in and, you know, they'll just instill that thought to say, yeah, you have your mom. You have your mom. But then how my stepmom, or my mom, when I say my mom, I mean my stepmom. Because she raised me so well that there was no element of stepmom. You know the stigma that people have when they say stepmom or stepparents? There's a stigma that they insinuate and say stepparents are not good. Stepparents are, I don't know, none of that. So if any of the people were raised by their stepparents are going through or went through that, that's not my case. So I had the memory, and then there was some thoughts that were implemented by outside factors. And what I remember very well is that they wanted to eliminate the fact that I have a stepmom who's taking care of me, and they wanted me to default back to my biological mom. However, because of the love and energy that she brought, it surpassed the love, I would say, of my biological dad. Because I also have a stepfather as well. When I say stepfather, I mean the man who also nurtured me besides my dad. So that's why when we started, I said I'm the only.
Is it the one who's in a relationship with you, was in a relationship with your mother?
No. This is a different element altogether.
Where did you get your stepfather?
Remember I said, I'm the only being who has both parents. And I said, praise. My biological mom and my biological dad, these are my parents. And I have a stepmom and another father who also nurtured me. So now, my stepmom, this is the product of my stepmom. Now, the other father, who was my mentor, may his soul rest in peace, played a very fatherly role. So I was able to understand that parenting is not only from the house or from the family, but outside. Do you understand what I'm saying? So your question was, did I know that I had a mom or I didn't? I said I had memory, and because of other external factors, they made it a point that I understand that I have a biological mom. I had to, how they displayed the energy. They wanted me to gravitate towards my biological mom and forsake my mom, my stepmom. Do you understand what I'm saying? But I was on a vantage point to decipher what was happening, because I would tell how wonderful my mom loved me and how the external factors were bringing these unnecessary forces, and I was able to be repulsive towards that. Do you get what I'm saying? So my biological mom nurtured me, my stepmom nurtured me. So I'm more of being nurtured than natural. Am I making sense? Sorry for my poetic devices or my poetic
Do you
language.
poet?
No, I
'Cause
don't.
sometimes I
You
just
know, I
get
wish
lost
I
in
wish
whatever
I
you say.
did. You know.
And this is the second time I'm asking you on set.
Yeah, I wish I did. I would want to try.
Okay.
Do you think I will qualify?
You will. You
Okay,
actually
thank
be a
you.
great poet.
Thank you. Give me a high five. There we go. Thank you.
All right. So you saying so your father never told you that you have a stepmother?
No, he did. He made it obvious that
At what age?
you know, the action will speak louder than, they say action speaks louder than words, but in this case actions and words were parallel. So I could tell that I have a mom, and my sisters will come. I had the inclination that there is a mom out there, but there was some sort of limitation in terms of seeing your biological mom. Why? They fought. You understand? They had their own fights. So as they did that, as a child, I didn't have a way to penetrate. Excuse me, I didn't have ways to interfere about what happened, what could have happened. You know, as a child, you don't have the backbone really to stand up to your parents and ask what happened. You understand? And that the state of questioning was also eliminated by the fact that my mom was a good mom. She still is a good mom. So I never.
Which mom? The first
when
one?
I say my mom, I'm talking about my stepmom.
Okay, cool.
Because I don't see the element of a stepmom. But for this
Alright.
segment, I would rather say stepmom so that you can understand.
Yeah, so I can understand better.
Yeah.
And you never had a relationship with your mom until you were old.
My biological
Your
mom.
biological
No,
mom.
I never had. Until a certain point, I think I was 22, 23, somewhere there. That's when I started, making phone calls and stuff like that. But officially we met a year ago, or 2.5. Yeah, when we sat down and I was like, yo, I'm
so all
Amen.
this
What's your
time you
name?
knew him, but you never met her.
Yeah, I knew there was
But
growing
you
up.
never met her.
Yeah, we
so
never really.
You met her like last year.
Yeah, and we sat down. It's like, yo, I'm Amen. What's your name?
And you had this big hair. Oh my God.
Say that again?
Now, if you have not watched the original of Humankind, right? What was it?
The origins.
The origin of
Yeah.
So our first episode actually,
I was on.
he had like a very big hair, and I asked him, "Why do you have such a big hair?" And you're like,
yeah.
"What did you say it was?"
Oh, you said why was I so hairy? What's with the
Yeah.
hair and everything? Because lately people are trending with how they should look, and I was like, no, I was born in Nazarene.
No. I'm asking about that one, but the one where you had like a very big afro,
My afro,
and you
yeah.
said that your mother, when she left you, she left you with an afro, so you wanted to see how you look like with an afro. That's why you kept the hair. See, I remember, and you don't. So you lied
No,
to me.
thing is, I get what you're saying, but I
Alright,
said
you can explain
when I
it better.
spoke to her, I said, yo, my name is Amen. What's your name? And she laughed. She's like, I know. What do you take me for?
Oh,
My mom is super crazy in a good way. Well, my biological mom is super crazy, and my stepmom is super cool and very shy and very, reserved. So these
you
are two
never had,
different
like
processes.
any bitterness towards
No,
her, like
no,
why didn't
no.
you fight?
That's not what That's not what my stepmom taught me. She said, life is good no matter what, and love everybody however you love yourself.
Yo, I wanna be the stepmother.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
So that's how great she is. She was like, because there was a time she called me around, I think I was in grade 12. She's like, you know what, you're a grown man, and your mom's gonna want to have you and take you from you. I was like, is that gonna be possible? She's like, it can happen, because now I was an adult. You understand? We spoke like adults. Can I say man to man? So we'd sit down, and she's like, yo, they want to come through and they would want to take you away from me because I raised you, and then obviously because of how future might look like, they would want to be part of your existence. It's like, no, it's not going to happen that way. It's not like I'm going to desert you or anything like that, but I'm going to be the person that you brought up, however you brought me up, that's how I'm going to be. So now, what happened is, at that time I was able to contact my biological mom. We'd talk now and then, recognize the voice and stuff like that, but never really got to meet officially. So when we met officially, obviously I had a couple of questions. Do you get what I'm saying? Growing up, people ask me, what's your name? Amen. And I ask you, what's your name? And like, Tepo, John, Elias, whoever. I'm like, yeah, what's your name? Elias. So that's how I was defensive about my name. So most of the people couldn't tell me what their names, why were they named what they are named. So I was like, well, the equation is balanced. If you can't tell me why your name is Johannes, so why do I have to tell you my name is Amen? But that was just my defense mechanism. But when I sat down with her, she told me everything. So she said, you were born a Nazarene. So I understood what a Nazarene is. But then when she said, when you were born, this is what God said, and this and this and this and that, I was like, oh, it makes sense, because it resonated with how I used to live. Now, concerning the afro, she told me that I was a Nazarene, which means my hair was not supposed to be shaved. She said, at the age of 1, 2, I didn't shave your hair, because that's what I was called. I was told not to shave your hair. So growing up, I also didn't shave my hair. Here and there, I would just leave my afro. You understand? So when I met her, I had an afro and beard. She's like, I know you're not going to shave your hair at some point, because that's the statement that God gave. So because you saw me, just go minimize your hair. And that's when I went for a cut. Because she's like, no, I know, I wanted to see this actually, but then now that I have seen it, you can minimize your hair or cut however.
Because actually, with me growing up, I was raised by a single parent. I had a stepdad. It actually is a very emotional thing.
I can
but
tell.
I had a stepdad, right? And he was there, present, fully present, and I always will remember him. He actually passed away. So he played a role that not even my father could step into even today. Yeah. And it's so amazing. At the same time, it's like a very emotional thing, because he came at a moment where I was at a place where I felt unloved, where my mom's uncle was very abusive towards me, so it was so much emptiness. And when he came, it's like he came and he brought so much happiness, and he brought so much fulfillment. He brought so much assurance that he assured me with everything. He was so affectionate. He was so protective. He was everything that I had ever dreamt of having in a father as a child. You know what I mean? And he came. Man, that man loved me. See, that man loved me so much that I even question if my father would ever love me like that.
Like he did, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get you.
Because it was in that moment where I saw the role of a father.
Yeah.
And within few months of him coming into our lives, and I remember when he first started dating my mom introduced us to him, like, oh, this is the guy that wants to marry me. And he's like, this is one thing he promised. He said, I'm going to love you, and I'm going to protect you.
Sure.
And I'm going to make sure that you are safe. And I learned to be protected through him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was in that moment where I realized that he has made such a huge impact as a stepfather, more than my biological father.
Yeah, that's right.
With the kisses and all of those things, and I'm making sure that we are good, we are safe, we have eaten. I remember when I was young, there were moments where I'd even go to school with no relaxed hair, but as soon as he came, my hair was always on point. Like, listen, I was that girl.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was in that moment where I learned the whole purpose of having a stepfather, you know what I mean? And I think if there's ever a moment where I don't think I'd even ever forget him. But I remembered one moment where he passed away. I think I was in grade 7, right? And it's just been a few months since, and 2 weeks before, he came to me and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
listen, he had asthma. He's like, listen, I had asthma. And then he brought me all these files. You know, he's like, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? I almost died. You know what I mean? But your mother saved me. So I went to the hospital. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And then in that moment, he sat with me and he told me that, you know what, I will never leave you. See, I love you. You know what I mean? So I was so assured by his love, to a point when he died, I literally did not know what to do.
Yeah.
Should I cry? Should I not? What do
I
I
get
do?
you.
How do I feel this? Because I'm so pained, and I feel like nobody will understand the role that this man has played in my life,
Sure.
that nobody even can imagine it
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think I've gotten to understand to a point when I want to date a person. Being a single parent, when I want to date a person, I need to understand the purpose that he's bringing into my life. What is your goal? So listen, I don't go alone. There's this child, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you love her? Can you protect her? Can she feel safe with you? Because I don't want to get into a relationship where you find that the same partner is literally drawing you away from your child, you know what I mean? Because they don't understand the
I
role
get
that they
you.
should play
Yeah.
as their parent, you know
Sure,
what
sure.
I mean? So yeah, man, I think that's just my story with this amazing father that I had once, you know, and never gotten again. Never
Yeah.
gotten to meet any man like him, you know what I mean? So yeah. So when you went, when your stepmother, who's your mother, when they separated with your father, did you ever feel like, now I've lost two parents already? Like I've lost two mothers already. Did you feel that?
No, what happened is, with how my dad and my stepmom separated, at the time I was mature enough to understand what was happening. Because she would sit me down and say, do you see what's happening? I was like, yeah, I see what's happening. You understand? So remember, this is somebody that I would sit with. You understand? At any given time. If I call her now and say, I want to talk to you, she'll say, come. She'll cancel everything for me. So at that time, it was a matter of, she was like, do you see what's happening? I was like, yeah. And then she was like, don't be biased. What do you think is happening? Be point blank. It's like, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, if you see it that way, keep it that way.
Dude, your mother had the right
Yeah,
intentions. Like she got it knowing,
Trust
yeah,
me,
listen.
If I were to glorify anybody else, it will be her. She's an icon. So now, at the time, she was, our relationship was so profound, was so deep. You understand? To a point where she would call me and say, yo, do you see what's happening? I was like, yeah, I see. So it's like, are you going to treat a lady like this? I'm like, no. She said, never even once, not even once are you supposed to touch a lady or speak anything outside of her content. If you have a wife, this is how you should treat a wife. However, I taught you how to treat a wife. Do you understand? So when they separated, I was not affected in an emotional way, but I was like, me and her are going to have distance because obviously we're not going to be in the same house. But it's going to be up to me on how I reach out to her. Do you get what I'm saying? But had it happened at earlier stages, then I think it would have affected me so much because I would have thought I'm losing this person for good. But I realized that sometimes separation is essential for the kids or for the relationship. I never advocated that they should separate, but I felt it's okay for them not to because it was no longer conducive. Do you get what I'm saying? So me looking at it from an adult point of view, I was like, that was supposed to happen. You understand?
I think with
in
me,
a relationship, in terms of parenting, both forces must have a goal to attain the element of greatness in a contractual means of saying we are a pair. So as a pair, we need to make sure that we attain the goal. But if the vision of both the parents is not inclined to one outcome, then what's the point in this? Do you get what I'm saying? So what I would see from a greater spectrum is that they were not having the vision was somehow affected. So it's got to be east and west.
I think actually when my parents separated when I was very young. I think I was like 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so happy. And I always
Eva.
say this, that
Hey.
when my parents separated, I was so happy, and simply because I saw the misery of the marriage.
Yeah.
So when everything unfolded, I felt like it's much better because
Yeah, at the age
we
of
were like
8.
put in the shame. Like my father would just come and just beat my mother,
Uh-huh.
and it was just all the physical violence that
Yeah.
it felt so unsafe. You know, you'll just be sitting here, and then the next minute, boom, TV's broken. Hi, Bo, what's happening in the house? You know what I
No,
mean?
that was bad.
And then there's police, and then everybody's
Yeah, it was
looking
bad.
the neighborhood. So when they separated, when my mom was
Then
like,
you
you
were
know what, I'm
happy.
fine. I was happy. I was like,
Okay.
go for it, go. But later on, that's when I started longing for a relationship with the father. But it was
Yeah.
like, this is how I treated it, right? I was like, I can't long what I've never experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents separated when I was young. So I've never experienced having a man as a protector.
I
The
get what
only
you're
time I
saying.
felt like there's a man, the role of a man as a protector was with my stepfather. And he was there for a short period of time, and then he passed away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I never got to fill any role of a stepfather
Yeah.
or ever as a father.
A father,
You know what I
father
mean?
figure,
So it just came in like, all right, cool, girls, y'all just gonna be on your own. You know what I mean? And I think overall, along the way with the separation between the parents, it gets so hard and affects kids because you're now in like a competition, right?
You mean the
So-
parents?
yeah, no, with the kids.
kids, okay.
They're in a competition. Like we become in a competition of the separation of
Yeah.
can you raise them better?
Yeah.
Can they do better?
Sure.
Let me see what your kids have done. You know what I mean? And it's like make him proud. Make him see what he has lost is not. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like you're in this competition of separation on
Sure.
who does what better. Let me see. Look at your kids.
Sure,
you know what I
sure.
mean? So along the way, you kind of get as a child, you kind of get lost. You know what I mean? Because you want to be seen.
Yep.
You know, you want to be seen. You want to be protected. You want to be recognized. You want him to step up.
Yeah. I get
You
what
know
you're
what
saying.
I mean? So it's another thing when you start dating somebody who knows the impact and the role of a stepfather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But in your case, it's a woman who knew her role
Yeah.
as a mother.
Yeah.
And she never said that, you're not my child, this is how I'm
No,
going to treat
no,
you like.
no. Matter of fact, I was a favorite, if I may put it that way. If they know at home that if I were to break out, say I'm her favorite, and she knew I was her favorite. Everybody knew I was her favorite. I have a
I
bigger.
don't like this favorite thing.
No,
No,
let me-
wonder
let-
why last
let-
time you were just okay with it, but I
let me-
just don't like it.
Let me tell you what I mean. Not nepotism, but she favored me. There was no nepotism. Nepotism is whether you do wrong or right, the person will still advocate
Yeah.
that. Now, she favored the fact that I am hers. Not favoritism in a sense of nepotism, no. I have a bigger brother from her side. I have a bigger brother. Her first child is my bigger brother. But on the scale of 10, I would say I take 9 out of 10.
And you're
No,
proud.
they-
Your
they-
favorite
they
kids
know.
have this thing,
You
this
know,
tendency of being proud.
If I can brag, that's the only thing I can brag
I
about.
honestly feel like I was like my stepdad's favorite. I feel like I was.
You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I was
So,
actually.
and
I
I'm
was-
not saying
I
I'm
was
bragging.
so gentle. He was so gentle with me.
Yeah.
I felt like he knew where I was damaged. He knew where I was broken, and he just came in with so much gentleness and so much assurance that I felt so safe. Man, I don't think I'd even experience that again
I get
ever
what you're saying,
again.
yeah.
Nah, I think I'm just too old
Sorry.
right now, Evan.
Sorry.
But that is one thing that I'll always remember, that man played a very huge role in such a short period of time. Say I'm 28 years old, and my father has never played that role in 28 years.
Yeah, sorry.
And he came in few months.
Yeah.
And he played
And
that
then
role.
he made
like
it
a
happen.
year and months.
Yeah.
And he played it that role.
I
so
get
for
what you
you,
say.
we're lucky because
Oh,
you
yeah.
played
I was
in
like her.
very long.
I was a Barbie doll, if I may put it that way. Because she made sure that, you know what, you're going to be what I will tell you to be in a rightful manner. Because she understood that she came into another man's domain. So she was supposed to be, or she was the queen in that domain, and he's the king in this domain. So this king has to govern the kingdom. So as a queen, she played that role and said, I'm going to be a queen, I'm going to raise princes. And as they grow up, they're going to be kings. So she taught me all the fundamentals of life and the principles of existence. Do you understand? So from all that, what more can can a man ask for?
What do you think about people who grow up in very abused homes, especially by their parents? Okay, I saw this clip. It's actually a movie actually, where this man was raised by he was raised by what?
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was raised by his father, and then the stepmother came in, and then the stepmother was like, "You're not gonna do this for the child. You're not gonna do this for. You're spoiling this child. You're not gonna, you know what I mean." So you experience all of that, and there's really step parents who experience that.
Yeah, who give-
Step kids who experience that. What do you think about that? When do you think people just get into your life because now you love my dad, but you don't know what you're going to bring into my life as the child?
I believe the radiation of the outcome that step parents dispense is purely based on the inner person. So if you've got what it takes to express hatred, anger, and brutal outcome in terms of how life's supposed to be, that parent has issues with their heart. Because remember one thing, a person is defined by what they speak, but before then it's what they think. So obviously the actions tells us that what you think is not in line with the agreement in terms of you coming into this union. So when you came, I'm now talking about the parent. When the parent came into the agreement or the union with this man or woman, they knew for a fact that they have kids. So if they have kids, now what is their philosophy on kids? Now our African proverb says a child is raised by environment, not by a singular unit, which is the mother or the father. So, which means they do not understand their philosophy. So, if I say I want to marry you and you have a child, the philosophy on kids should be, I'm going to have to take care of the kid because that's the philosophy of life. So, those parents or step parents who ill-treat kids in general, they don't have the inner goodness to give that love to the kids, because it's not about blood. Okay, some people would associate kids with blood, but really what happened is if that blood gets affected because of a different blood, that would mean there's not the philosophy has been spoiled or has been ruined by whatever outcome before they came into this union. If I know you have a child, that means I'm going to take you and your child. You understand? So I'm going to put you on the scale of you and your child in a very parallel manner, or in an equilibrium where love cannot be dissected by you or her. So the dissection of love simply means you do not have a proper philosophy in terms of what are kids and what is a union. That's how I can say, because at the end of the day, why is it that we have to have parents which are step parents which radiate bad vibes? So when you think step parents, it's a stigma. You would know for a fact that step parents are not good. That's what we know. Do you understand? If you were to tell me and say step parents are not good, I'll just give you a funny look, because that never happened in my life. But to those that has happened or still happening, that step parent must be questioned about. Do you understand the principles of life? Do you understand the existence of what kids are versus the person that you are considering to be your husband or your wife?
That's the person. Because in one of the cases, I realized as well is we often want to take boyfriends and want to make them stepfathers, and I feel like it has to be somebody. I feel like people are anointed for such roles. That some people are good with probably just being being a boyfriend, but when it comes to having a relationship with kids, they really are not. They're just not good with it.
It's a matter of that person wanting to take charge of that. That's okay. How I.
But I
perceive
feel
it
like as
from
a parent as well that it's important to also be with somebody who understands, and who has such a big heart that they can be able to love you and the next person.
Child, yeah.
Because the thing is this, right? I remember talking to this guy actually over the phone. He was proposing me, and I think I blocked him after that. Guys, I have a problem with blocking, but anyway. So he's like, yo, I'm at home and hey, I'm tired. Yo, I'm tired of buying bread for everyone. Hey, now they see you from Gauteng, then they want to eat all your money. You know what I mean? And then he was like, what can I bring you? And I'm like, don't bring me anything. Like, I'm cool. You know what I mean? And I think from then, this is just what I thought. If I had an interest, no, I never had an interest in that guy. But if I had an interest with that person, I wouldn't even consider him. And simply because if you complain about taking care of your family,
yeah,
you know what I mean? There's no way, and I mean it, there's no way that you can take care of my child.
Yeah, that's...
Because if you have a problem with taking care of your own biological mother, there is absolutely no way that you're going to take care of a child that is not yours.
No
so we see the signs, we see the readiness, we see the maturity of a person. Can you handle the next person?
That's right.
Can you love the next person? Can you take care of the next person by how you treat your family as well? Because if you are going to want to buy me something, then I expect you to do it for your family as well. You know what I mean? If you want to be like, I'm going to bring you a gift, but you just complain about buying a 15 rand bread to your parents. You know what I mean? So you are considering the person who's outside and not considering inside. You know what I mean? So those are the things that when you get into a relationship or you get into marriage, when you see a partner who's like that, it's so easy for you to see the signs and get to see that he's not going to play the role that he should. Because at the end of the day, we might say that I'm not going to look at it, I don't care, I can take care of my kids. But at the same time, the same kid that I'm saying that I'm going to take care, he's going to be living with the same men that I'll be choosing. You know? And eventually I'm going to be having kids with the same man. You know what I mean? So if you can't take care of your household, there's no way that you can take care of my child. This is one thing, and also one of the reasons why people often feel like tell the father of your child, or tell this child that, you know, tell this child this, tell your child that, as that you don't have a heart big enough to accommodate the next person.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So I feel that as a parent, to prevent the stepfather stories, you know, it's also important that we check, are the people that we are dating mature enough to play the role as a single mother? Because yes, the finances, I don't expect you to, but it's nice to have a partner who has your back.
That's right.
It's nice to have a partner who you can count on. It's nice to have a partner like, babe, can you pick the child up at school? And you know, they take their child as theirs. There's a thing that I always love watching, and I've never even realized that the father is not theirs, because he loves their kids so much, and he does not even consider them my step kids.
Outsiders, you know.
So I also think that as soon as we start saying step kids, there's
a line or gulf that we're putting in terms of the sustenance of parenting to happen in a mutual scale. I get what you're saying. So now, when you said some people are anointed for that, really, we can say that it's like, that statement is more like some leaders are born, some leaders are made. But at the end of the day, we must realize that there is an element where there's no blood involved. So if there's no blood involved, that's when you kick in as a person and say, am I a human being? So if I'm a human being, how do I treat the next human being? If I say I love you and your kid, and I don't show love to your kid, that means my humanness has been compromised by the state of the environment. And that state of environment is it's what we get from the society. Matter of fact, society is a group, or can I speak English? A conglomeration of families.
Live it.
No, but what I mean is,
what's that what? What is it?
Conglomeration.
Conglomerate.
Conglomerate is a noun. No, but matter of fact, can I say this?
What does it mean?
Can I say this?
Yeah, just speak a simple English.
English does not exist.
Why you just spoke a word here? Now because I'm not understanding you saying it does not exist. It exists.
My sentence was not completed. English does not exist alone. It's just a conglomeration of many dialects. So when I say photosynthesis, I'm talking about the sun. So photosynthesis, that's Greek. Do you understand? Yeah. So there's too many languages involved in this language that brings it up. So when I speak a word that sounds non-English or too deep, it's not deep. It's not English.
At the end of the day, we say it's English. So it's conclamation. What? Conclamation.
Okay. So I was saying society is a conglomerate.
Okay.
It's a conglomerate of families. So now the outcome of step parents ill-treating the kids is the fact that the society has taught that don't accommodate another child's child, don't bear it. So now that's very detrimental, because we have to understand that as human being, that needs to be cut out. We need to chop it out and say, what is a human being in the scales of in the viewpoint of God? How does God view human beings? So if you view human being according to God, then we'll realize that blood is not in essence of how I should treat you based on blood or tribalism, because that's where it goes. From tribalism you have racism. From racism you have a lot of sectors like your imperialism. That's, it inclinates in that way.